Hi guys, and welcome to the Sunderland vs West Brom match review. Now, I know a few of you probably, or quite a lot of you, probably clicked on this thinking, oh God, it's another draw, he's going to go ape shit, he's been moaning for the last few draws. To be honest with you, this game and my response to this game actually was a lot less angry than any of the other sort of five draws in total on the bounce. And I'll tell you for why. Because although it was incredibly frustrating, I won't, beat around the bush. It was absolutely very frustrating. We looked toothless. However, in this game, we didn't stop trying, at least from the first minute until the last. Yes, it was frustrating, and we're against a team that are unbeaten in X amount of games, and they came to the stage of light with a game of sitting back and counter-attacking, and we nullified their threats, which was next to nothing. We largely nullified them, and we did not stop going. But in credit to West Brom, they defended incredibly well, and they're not a bad team. And even if you play against the worst team in the world, if they just all sit in banks in front of the keeper, it's stupidly difficult to try and work your way through. And we're probably unfortunate at times, and we were absolutely guilty of trying to score the perfect goal or trying to pass the ball in the back of the net. And it was frustrating in that sense. But I will give the lads credit in terms of they really did try to go for it from the first minute until the last. And we've seen in previous games where we'll try for a bit and then we'll just sit back and we'll invite pressure. And we didn't do that at any point throughout the entire game. So I need to give them credit in that sense. But yes, I will absolutely admit it was very, very frustrating. But I didn't come away from that game feeling anywhere near as annoyed or angry as the previous few, if that makes sense. So you guys might have a totally different opinion to me. But yeah, so don't get me wrong. I didn't come away feeling, joy and rainbows and all that kind of stuff. There's still things I'm going to point out, but I just wanted to give you my immediate reaction for those that are thinking, I'm going to go into this and just bitch and moan and say everything's shit, because I don't think it is. There was a lot of positives, but there's going to be, in situations like this, there's going to be negatives I'm going to point out as well. But going into the game, I was fairly surprised to see that he stuck with Luke O'Nien at right back, brought Alessi off, who was outstanding against Millwall, put Hume at left back, which is obviously out of favour. That's not his position. He's a little bit more uncomfortable at left back. And then we had Ballard and Mepham in the middle of defence, of course, with Pato in goal as well. We had Jobe returning, Neil and Rigg in the middle. Then on one side we had Roberts, we had Watson on the other side, then Eastaugh up top. So at first I thought, why would you just, if you're going to just stick with O'Nien at right back, then you may as well have Alessi, who's comfortable on the left hand side as well. So why wouldn't, and he was brilliant against Millwall, so why would you sort of risk that? And it felt a bit too experimental. Or if the problem was, and it's a good headache to have, if the headache was, I don't know who to use in my two centre back partnership between like Mepham, Ballard and O'Nien, I understand that's a difficult headache, but at least choose a pair then, and then you're going to have to drop one. You don't need to throw them all on when you've got perfectly good full-backs on the bench in Alessi. Do you know what I mean? That's what I thought anyway. But going into the game, both of them were doing fine. O'Nien was absolutely sensational in my opinion on that right-hand side. He was dragging us up the field, trying to get some link-up play going with Roberts, getting to the byline several times. Watson on the other side was linking up well with Hume. Hume had played Watson into the byline several times to get it across goal. And Watson looked a real threat, particularly in that first half, cutting inside. And don't get me wrong, I've seen probably the most sort of split opinion, and of course everyone has their own opinion. I've seen such a ridiculously split opinion on Watson online on social media, on Twitter or X, however you want to call it. Some people like me, I think he looked like, I don't think he was brilliant, I don't think he was amazing, but he was absolutely our most threatening player on the pitch, particularly in the first half. Whereas others are saying he was absolutely atrocious, he was shit, he's not even a League One player, and it really has fluctuated opinions like that, which I find a bit baffling, to be honest with you. But yeah, don't get me wrong, he's young, and I'm not giving him an excuse for anything like that, but his decision making at times was a bit maybe questionable. He might cut inside, and rather than giving it to whoever's free on the edge of the box, he's gone for goal himself. But I don't really have an issue with that. He was going for goal, he was trying to make something happen. Whereas on the opposite side, and I know I'm going to feel harsh here because Patrick Roberts is absolutely a quality player, he has ability, we know he can give us moments of magic. But when have we seen it? We've seen it once every 7-8 months. Let's be totally honest now. Let's be brutally honest. Patrick Roberts slowed us down a hell of a lot last night. Every time we tried to break, even O'Nien bombing forward, everyone's flying forward to get at them. And then Paddy Roberts, instead of just keep on going at them, puts his foot on the ball, stops, and he starts trying to do his little skills, trying to sort of try and lure a defender into try and make a chance so we can skip past him. But he didn't get past Styles once. And he'd try and cut inside, and then he'd shoot, and his shooting is fucking abysmal anyway. he scored one goal, was it last season, where it was absolute belter into the far corner, whenever it was, a couple of seasons ago, whenever. But he just isn't the same player at the moment for me. He's got the quality there, but he was offering nothing. And don't even get me started on his set pieces. He had a set piece down the throat, down the centre of the edge of the box, and he's hit it straight to the wall. Every single corner, it either hit the first man without fail, or he would just thump it into the air, and it just have no purpose on it. So it's too high in the air, it's too deep, no one's getting on it, and they were absolutely horrific, and he offered nothing. He slowed down the play time and time again, but we were making chances in that first half. Granted, half chances here and there, because West Brom were quite content and sitting back and allowing us to have possession, and they were allowing us to just keep pile on the pressure. And that's what we were doing. The little half chance with Easter around the edge of the box, he had to swivel a couple of times and he hit straight at the keeper. Like I say, Watson, Job, Dhannoo, having shots that were flying over and wide. And we were trying to really pepper the goal, but we weren't really testing the keeper. They had the one chance in that first half with Josh Madger. He really struggled, and to be fair, Mepham and Ballard together, they were absolutely outstanding. And that's not to say O'Nien shouldn't be back in the centre-back position, because I think he should. He gives us a hell of a lot. He's great defensively now, Luke O'Nien, and bringing us forward, which I think we missed a little bit. I think Mepham tried to play that role a bit. I didn't really put too much of a foot wrong, but O'Nien is better on the ball, and O'Nien can bring us forward, and he can carry the ball into the opposition half, and then it frees up plays because it makes the opposition commit, whereas we didn't really do that as much with Mepham and Ballard at the back. However, we did look stupidly solid at the back. Mepham was just outstanding. Ballard had a good game, but Mepham for me is a class above. Just the way he just pushes every single player aside. He's absolute nails, that lad. He just shrugs him off like there's no tomorrow, like nothing. And he just sees, like the way he just sees balls out of play and shields the ball so well. No one can get the ball away from him. He's outstanding for me. He was fantastic. But yeah, Madger had one really good chance. They broke down the right-hand side, pulled it back to Madger, and he probably should have done it better in the box, and he sort of scuffed his effort. It's gone miles wide. Other than that, that was all they had. And like I said, we were just really going for it. But like I said, right-hand side with Paddy Roberts, he was just slowing us down time and time again. Dan Neil wasn't fantastic for me. Rigg was really working his arse off. Job, who I know is probably a little bit rusty because he's just come back from his suspension. But for me, Job was nowhere near at the level he usually is. For me with Job, which was strange because I think he's had such an outstanding season so far, he reminded me last night of the Job of old, Job of last season, where he wasn't particularly great, was he? And what I mean by that is he's looked so confident this season. He gets the ball, and if there's space to run into, he'll drive at players. You know, he's a big, bulky lad, a big, strong lad, and to see someone like him running at you, it's terrifying. But he wasn't doing that. He would get the ball, and even if there was space, he was almost waiting for physical contact from the opposition. And again, what I mean by that is he's very good, and what he likes to do when he's in sort of tight positions where you've got like 2 or 3 opposition players trying to get the ball off him, he likes to shield them off and likes to wriggle in between tight quarters like that, and he's very good at that. But when you've got space to run into it. Don't think, oh shit, I like it when, you know, I'm getting the wrestling of the opposition players, and he would put his foot on the ball and almost wait for it. And he looked so laboured on the ball. Like every touch, it felt like it was like Bambi. Do you know what I mean? Just watching him, was like, oh shit, a big touch on another touch. And similarly to Roberts a little bit in that when we were driving forward or we were trying to bomb forward, he'd take one touch too many. You know, we're like, come on, you've got 09 on the overlap, give it. And I'm like, give it. And he's literally taken one touch, another touch. And by the time he's decided to give it, they've got all their players back. And it weren't good enough from a lot of the players. But yeah, and again, something for me was very, very frustrating was Isidore. All game long, he was making some fantastic runs in behind. And the one thing that I did say was positive about the Millwall game is we were playing some direct football, not route one, we were just saving it for the sake of it, but we were putting it into the channels for Isidore to chase. He's not always going to get there, but we were gambling on it. And several times he was getting on the end of him. But only twice throughout the entirety of the game did we actually clock Isidore's runs. And even then, yeah, granted, it didn't come to anything in the end, but we were getting him in behind and he's running at them. And we only did it twice, and we were ignoring his runs in favour of giving the ball to Paddy Roberts, so he puts his foot on the ball and stops the play, and we're doing triangles and will eventually and ultimately go backwards because that's what Paddy Roberts does. That was literally it. So we were very, very toothless. We weren't gambling. We weren't brave enough in taking a gamble on Isidore, who must look so frustrated because we just refused to acknowledge his runs, and there were some brilliant runs as well. 09 in the second half a few times. I think he must have been told at half time, or at least some of the players were told at half time. Look for Isidore straight away twice. 09 tried it in the second half to find him. He did. But then, this was the baffling thing for me. And again, I don't want to go too negative because I said there are positives, absolutely. And it's difficult to play against any team that sit back and park the bus from the off anyway. But the second half, the substitutions absolutely baffled me. So Watson in the first half, he was our main threat. Again, he wasn't perfect, but he was our main threat. Roberts offered nothing, as I say, and I feel like I'm digging out Roberts, but it's just true, and it's my opinion. But when the substitutions come, O'Nien, who was fantastic on the right-hand side, he's brought him off, put Hume over to the right-hand side, and brought Alessio onto the left, which I get, you're getting the right-footed players and the left-footed players in their correct positions. I understand that if that was your thought process before the game and you wanted to start it like that. That's fair enough. But we've already got evidence of O'Nien being fantastic on the right-hand side. Hume was fine on the left-hand side, linking up with Watson. But what you do is taking off Watson, who was our main threat. He's come off. He's left Paddy Roberts on the pitch. Put Mayenda on the left-hand side, even though we've just had evidence against Millwall when he was outstanding on the right-hand side. And so we've nullified that entire threat down the left. Because Mayenda looked stupidly uncomfortable. On the right-hand side, he loves to cut in from right to left. And because he has the pace and the direct running, he can do it, unlike Paddy Roberts at the moment. But you put him on the left, and you can see the amount of times we put him on the left-hand side, when he did come on, he put his foot on the ball, and sometimes he would just put his foot on the ball and look backwards to try and find someone to pass backwards to. Because he can't cut in on that side. He can't use that foot. I don't know what it is. He's not comfortable, clearly. So we completely nullified any threat on the left-hand side to leave Paddy Roberts on the right. So we may as well just stop there because we had nothing. But we eventually, we did have an offside goal. We got it to the byline on the right-hand side, cuts back to Isidore. He managed to wrestle in front of his man. His man has actually sort of almost pushed him a nose hair offside as the ball come in, and he stuck the ball into the back of the net to make it 1-0. And I thought that was it. I thought then we would just sit back, but it was offside, and we were throwing everything at it, and it wasn't to be, unfortunately. But for me, yeah, I think what would have been perfect about the hour mark, we were on top, we were making half chances here and there. It would have been the absolute ideal time to bring Paddy Roberts off and bring Mayenda on and stick him on the right hand side. Because Watson, although, yeah, like I say, first half I think he was very, very good. Second half, maybe, like I said, a little bit questionable with his decision making, but he was really going for it. Paddy Roberts wasn't, and he was offering nothing, whereas Watson did look very dangerous. If you just brought Paddy Roberts off on the hour mark, put Mayenda on, it gives them something else to think about whilst we're really on top and throwing everything at it. And I think that would have been the perfect thing, but instead he's messed around with the full-backs. You might say he's resting plays for Friday or whatever, I don't know. But I just found that baffling when they were doing absolutely fine. We just lost such an integral part of our game when he did that. And then on the width, on the wide areas, we had nothing from there on in. So it was just sort of hopeful long range efforts and stuff like that. They got one counter attack in that second half where people said it's cleared off the line. Technically it was, but it looked like it was going to go just wide anyway. But Ballard managed to get back and get it away. But that was it. You know, fair play to West Brom. They came with a game plan of getting a point and sitting back, and that's exactly what they did. And they were frustrated the life out of us. But to credit to us, we didn't stop going. At no point did we give up, which is something I've been moaning about in the recent weeks. It is frustrating to get 5 draws in a row, and now we drop down to third. It's probably going to be fourth by the end of today, or end of tonight after other games being played. But yeah, very, very frustrating. Connolly scored last weekend. Why didn't he get brought on? I just found the subs baffling. I don't know whether he's resting players to make some kind of system for Friday. I don't know. But yeah, some baffling decisions I felt like really hindered us. Might not have worked out anyway if they did what I wanted to do and bring Amanda on the right side. I don't know, but hindsight's a wonderful thing, and I think it just made us a lot worse. Yeah, there we go. I'm not going to bitch and moan too much and say that everything's shit, because it isn't. But yeah, there were some things that were frustrating. I'm sure some of you will agree with me anyway. If you don't, that's fine as well. I'm perfectly okay with people disagreeing with me. But yeah, so that's my sum up of the game. Frustrating. It isn't the end of the world, but yeah, what's more frustrating is, and again, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but a couple of those games that we did draw, or we drew, we absolutely should have come away with 3 points, and that would have been an extra 4 points, and we would have still been top of the league. But Friday's massive now. Don't get me wrong, it's only 17 games, 18 games in. It's not an absolute must-win, but it's a huge test against a very solid Sheffield United side. I think he's probably going to play 3 at the back with wing-backs for me. That's what I think he's going to do. And he's going to go for Connolly and Isidore up top again, which I'm excited to see. But we'll have to see what happens. But let me know in the comments down below what you think. Apologies for the lighting, by the way. The sun's just going in and out, and I can tell the camera's just going very strange. But yeah, it's a strange day today. Anyway, if you've enjoyed, hit the like button for me. It's massively appreciated. And leave a comment down below what you thought of the game. Do you agree, disagree, and what have you? What subs would you have made? Do you agree with me that the subs were a bit strange, or do you understand why you made those subs? And subscribe. You know, again, I'm going to keep on saying this now till at least the end of the year. There's so many of you guys that are watching. It is honestly like 69% people that are watching regularly aren't subscribed, so it means a lot. So if you're not subscribed, please do. But anyway, take care for now. Stay jammy, and away the lads.